My antivirus thing just popped up saying to renew, but I clicked ignore for that. Anyway, hello, welcome to Dissonant Waves. My name is Dominic. Ritz and Trix are here. It's episode 166.
You should have clicked
Hello.
uninstall.
It's been expired for a while.
Well, antivirus softwares are just malware, so.
Yeah. This is our first episode recorded after we launched our Patreon. Go follow our Patreon if you wish.
Yeah. Spend $200 and I'll get a tattoo.
Or spend $2 and just be a Dissonant Waves supporter. Either way is fine. There's other tiers in between.
Spend nothing. We're not your mum.
Yeah, you don't have to give us anything. We've done this show for 5 years almost without it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Without your help. Yeah.
Fuck you guys. We did it without you. Just kidding. We love you.
We're all allowed to be dicks today because I got a cold, so I've got no time. No time for anyone.
It's 3 a.m. for me, and I've been up since noon.
We're putting some fun stuff on Patreon. Keep an eye on it. Either way.
This is the piss off the fan base episode. That's usually what it's like when you launch a Patreon anyway. You remember when Pete launched his Patreon?
Yeah, I joined it the day it started.
I joined it pretty.
Yeah, so did I, because he's my. Yeah, I mean we did. I obviously did. He's my friend, but he shared with me a bunch of the comments he saw from just random people who never talked to him, and it was just like, oh, another YouTuber down the drain.
I mean, the show
never make a living.
The show's still gonna be free. Still watch it all on YouTube or whatever. So all the extra.
We're not like those. Who's the controversy where they locked all their content behind the paywall? It happened recently. I don't know what the fuck it was, but
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about, but I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't think I ever actually saw their content, so I didn't give enough shits. But
me either. I saw it on Twitter.
Gotcha.
Anyway, we got albums.
Yeah, we
got 6 albums.
Quite a few things. First up, we got 00_'s Infinity EP, and RAAVE Tapes' first LP called RAAVE Tapes. That's Ritz's pick. Trix went with Ween, Shinola Volume 1, and the Growlers Hung at Heart, the Dan Auerbach version. For those who have kept up, we have covered Hung at Heart before, but not this version, I'll tell you that. And then I picked The Revenge of Christian Kahn. He's back, and he's talking about everything I love. And then we also got Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim.
What the fuck was that, Trix?
Star Trek.
What has Monty done?
Wrath of Kahn.
Kahn.
I was shouting Kahn.
Yeah, it couldn't quite cut through that you're saying Kahn. So it was kind of just like, I was afraid Monty just like knocked over your fucking
It
Red
sounded
Bull
kind of like
something.
a Link-esque cry in pain.
Yeah, we did not come through.
I was whisper shouting because I am outside right now.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a firefly.
I would shout, but then I wouldn't talk for the rest of the episode.
Fair enough. What do you want to talk about first?
Yeah.
It's 6 things. Half a dozen.
You know what? I never bully you enough. Let's start with Christian Kahn.
Hey, that's fine. What a way to blow your load really quickly. Christian Kahn is an artist I've played a couple
edge. You
times.
know I love to edge.
I first put him on when I did my mystery playlist where I challenged these two to figure out the songs and who they were by and everything else. I put a couple of his singles on that. And then we covered his first album earlier this year. Oh, I can't even remember the name of that thing. Oh, God.
He was... I won't feel like I do now.
I won't feel like I do now. Yes, correct. And right after we covered that, he came out with his second album, which includes the singles that we covered before, Intentions, and Count My Fears. So here we are. He's back. Everything I love. And, like I kind of said, he blew his load with the first 2 singles.
I think that's, unfair. I think there's some good content on this album.
Yeah.
In a sense of his debut, I mean, his debut was worse. That's
yes.
The easiest way. He did not go into the whole rap scene with a with anything to show through it. I think would be the the nicest way of putting for it. And now he's completely changed, and he's gone into the emo scene, and it's better. It works a lot better as an emo artist than he did as a rap artist.
Yeah.
And I mean, this album's quite actually easy to just put on and vibe with. I don't think this is actually a bad effort. I think he's a lot more suited for this type of sound, and it's kind of showing. But that being said, you can kind of tell that this is one that's it wears its influences on its sleeve quite a lot.
It's something that I think is better. I agree, but I also think that I don't know how to phrase this exactly, but there's like it sounds like there's like a general template he's using in a way of like how he constructs his songs, and I don't know if it's just like a general pop template, but a lot of them seem to follow that. Like the ones that are
I see that
are like the singles, like Intentions and Count My Fears. Those are the ones that felt more organic and not original per se, but like, oh yeah, I remember those. Those are Christian Kahn songs. I think the other ones that were interesting or had interesting moments, like Halo Leash, starts off really well and has interesting vocals from him, but it too kind of just settles back eventually into just the general thing he's doing.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's really hard to kind of go full in depth to the album because you hear one song, it's kind of the rest of the album, and you know it's fine. You put it on in the background. I recommend it to anybody who's desperately needing to hear every emo album that's out there because that's basically where you are. Is that you're just desperate for something that isn't the same artist that you heard to the point in which you would just listen to someone with a different name. And yeah, I mean it's as competent as a lot of the DIY emo that you get, and it's fine. I was hoping for more. I actually was a bit excited after Halo Leash played, and I was like, okay, well, even though I don't think this is as good as Intentions, I'm excited to hear where this is going. Having some of that screaming vocals that happen in both Halo and Options, those two songs, I thought we're getting, hey, this isn't afraid to get heavier, and then it's just got a second half that's just really it's not evolving anymore. Like it evolves at the start, and then it only so slightly as well, and then it just kind of goes back to where it was, and then leaves, and it refuses to elaborate.
Like there are moments like by 11:15 is a song about kind of like tuning everything out, going to bed, taking care of yourself, living responsibly in a world that is constantly chaotic, and sure, that's fine. Union Station kind of gave me less. I kind of just got the image of him crying in Union Station of whatever city we want to say it is. It could be New York, it could be Chicago, who knows, or somewhere else. But yeah, it kind of just peters out, and I think the things that were interesting earlier on are just kind of left hanging. Like he had ideas, he had things he was trying, and they're encouraging, but at some point he just did other songs and just put it all together.
I think what I also liked about Intentions, which we don't really get on the other songs as well, is that when the second chorus comes in, he's obviously straining to reach a note that he doesn't usually hit when it comes to his vocals. And I can't tell you that it's perfectly hit, but I admire the confidence and still going for it, which is what makes it a lot more entertaining and raw. But we don't get anything like that. It's not like, oh well, he's learned to hit the notes. It's just that I can't really recall another point in which he truly tries to like push his vocals like that.
And I think he re-recorded the songs too, if I heard it correctly. Intentions, Count My Fears are a different mix.
Potentially.
I didn't do a strict comparison, but they sounded more like he was doing more with them and trying to make it sound fuller. I think worked okay. Like I think Intentions still has an interesting energy to it. It has interesting charisma that make it stand out as like a little bit of a. It's not exactly emo. It's more of an alt rock, but it also like has a little bit of a wall of sound, not like a shoegaze, but kind of just it has vibes.
Yeah,
And so there's definitely a major improvement. I just wonder, like, okay, he sticks with this and just gives himself time to like craft like a central idea for whatever comes next. Can he pull that off? I think potentially he could if he really hones in on it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because like these songs are all generally about stuff and things, and there's some traveling themes. There's emotions and growing up and anxiety and a lot of things you hear about in other albums. But other than like again traveling, there isn't really much to really grasp general relationship emotion stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were to say like, yeah, album 3 is gonna be about grappling with my mental illness, or it's gonna be about the places that I've visited in my life, kind of extending those themes out a little bit more or something like that. I think that would maybe give him something more to kind of hang on to.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see him going either way with this because I've been listening to like a lot more in the way of like goofy songs with like no nonsensical, and I'm currently like writing a song about wanting to fuck a toaster. So like lyrics have become weird for me is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, sure, if you can write a song with fucking a toaster and make it sound good for everything else, by all means.
Yeah, fuck
Fuck
that
that
toaster,
toaster.
Trix. Fuck that toaster.
Believe me, I have been workshopping it for quite a bit.
It'd be interesting to see him try to pull off a goofier side of himself.
Yeah, and I don't think he's gonna go straight goofy, but like I don't know, might be fun thing for him to try, and more artists to try, I should say even.
Yeah, just something that at least helps him stand out a lot more.
Yeah.
Because I want to judge him more, but it's hard now to just go further than this is just it's run of the mill bedroom emo, and there could be so much more that it could be, but I don't know the guy enough to know where it could go. So
Mhm.
instead of me feeling like, hey, here's what I think should happen, just as a critical way or my own enjoyment, it's just so long, good luck.
Yeah, we're kind of serving up into the Dissonant Waves nexus, so to speak, and he could very much just slip right through and just, become water and drain through the cracks. Or maybe, he catches on and something happens from it.
I do want to say, I assume he does his own production though.
Yeah, I would assume
The
so.
production's pretty clean on this.
Maybe he could have some work as a producer.
Yeah, I could see
I,
that.
I don't really want to tell him what to do as his job. If I mean, in the end, this could just be what somebody's doing just because I feel like putting it out there, and that's fair enough.
Any of these things, none of these things could.
But I just don't really have much more I can say about it.
I don't either. It's an improvement, but like, we've heard worse emo for sure. Also,
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Favorites. Tensions Count My Fears, and I think Halo Leash is at least an interesting evolution. Options also has that vocal fry. I don't know.
Yeah.
The second half is by far the weakest part.
Yeah, I'm just gonna agree.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So moving on from there, let's kind of stay in this realm because I kind of want to bully you a little bit for picking 00_.
I don't care how much you gotta bully me because I like the CP.
I do too.
I'm glad you both like it. I just thought it was like kind of combining a lot of the stuff we've listened to in the last couple of years and just doing a lesser version of it.
Nah, disagree. You're wrong. Bye bye.
I mean, it's a sound, but it's a specific sound, but it's a sound I like. So
Yeah, so 00_. I don't really know too much about them except that they're from Melbourne and that they're experimental slowcore. They put out an EP. They had some stuff beforehand, but this is an EP from this year. I liked it, so I picked it. A bunch of other people in the scene have been enjoying this album as well, so I picked it.
That's fair.
Dominic's just wrong. That's all I can say.
Can you guess
I
the
like-
first
I
band I
like
thought
this.
of when I was listening to this?
I'm gonna guess Black Midi.
No. The second band I thought
Ah.
of was Black Country, but not Black Midi. That was not first.
Yeah, getting in that vibe. No, I'm too sick to determine what your first guess is. So let Trix do the guess.
I'm a real left field pick, and I doubt it's right, but Horse Jumper of Love.
First band I thought of, especially listening to Fainting at the Punk Squat, was Seismic.
Okay, yeah.
And is that because of an insult that you had to Seismic, or because of
You've got
No,
jazzy kind of instrumentation with a really stark and immediately attention-grabbing, presumably female vocalist.
yes?
Yeah.
It's more punky. It's more, like she's a little rougher around the edges, different than Seismic, but it definitely had those vibes.
I have a slight confession about Seismic. It is still on somewhat of a twice yearly rotation.
Yeah, I still listen to a song from it once in a while.
I was listening to a song today.
Because you were
Because
reminded
of
of
the-
Seismic.
It was the instrumental that I always go back to.
Mm.
But yeah, there's some Seismic, there's some Black Country in this. And if you want to talk about like Naki Soul a little bit, perhaps.
I mean, that's just talking about Aussie scrams, I guess, at this point, which they kind of fall somewhat into that belt.
Mm-hmm.
Just actually looking to see who's actually supported us on Bandcamp. Because there was a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 people who have bought this on Bandcamp, and one of them just has a Jerry Seinfeld profile pic.
Hell yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld and 00_.
What's the deal with slowcore?
Ding 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 ding.
I
Seinfeld.
sure do miss dominant masculinity. Let me buy this one emo EP and see how I feel about it. Oh no.
Seinfeld theme is the original slowcore.
Sorry, I know how to play that on bass, and it's honestly just like
Yeah.
a super fun riff to play stone because you just play variations on it for hours.
If Elaine was singing over the Seinfeld bass line, would that just be modern slowcore?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. This is the first, to my knowledge, of slowcore being entered into my lexicon.
First Jumper's kind of.
I mean, we've used the term. Yeah, we've used the term enough times. I mean, Doris is slowcore.
I am just a brain dead hippie.
But yeah, no, I like this. I was reminded a bit of Black Midi, specifically in songs like Claude, where it has that kind of time signature changes and this I call it avant-garde-esque way that Black Midi would do it. It kind of reminded me a bit of like Welcome to Hell.
I could see that a little bit.
And it's one of those. It's odd and interesting in the right way. It scratches my brain in a good way.
I agree with that. It's just interesting. I don't like. I want to listen to it in like intervals and like. This is an album I have to like really sit down and like allow myself to have a session to like understanding. Like I mostly listen to this on my walks home from work, and it's not great for that walking through the dark forest, but
oh, that feels like a panic attack.
Sorta.
I need to listen to this whilst on a nighttime walk. I haven't done that, but no, I got into them when Bathwater Baby was released, the single for this. So
How was the
I've had a bit of preparation. Yeah, that and Ivy were the two singles. Excuse me, as I'm still in my fucking trying to think as the cold kills me. No, I've lost all train of thought.
I mean,
back to Dominic.
For me, it's more just like the iron struck on Fainting at the Punk Squat. That's all I hear now. That's all I remember. That's really all I have at this point. It's like that. Well, that song was interesting, and I think they kind of kept that note throughout the rest of the album, EP, whatever you want to call it. I didn't hear much that intrigued me beyond that, other than like, yeah, that's sure that sound.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It was a bit cheese sandwichy for me. Like I enjoyed it, but like I couldn't tell you any specific thing about it because I mostly listened to it on my walks home, and I'm not really like trying to flashbang myself checking song titles.
It's admittedly one of those ones where I feel like it has a lot going into it, and if I wasn't as fucked as I am at the moment, I would probably be able to remember it a bit more. But it is very chaotic, despite being quite slow.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of a blender, but a blender in the sense that like you blended it.
Oh, I think that's a cheese sandwich term, isn't it? No, a cheese sandwich is a blender, but it's good, isn't it?
I had the ultimate cheese sandwich today, by the way.
Yeah.
This is more like a pulsated. You haven't finely chopped, I guess, is the better way.
What I was gonna say is it's like a blender, except like the good part was like at the top when you took it out of the blender. So it kind of like when you poured it into the cup, it like went to the bottom.
You just blend
a creme brulee.
So yeah, like, that's a better one.
Sure, creme brulee. I don't want to keep doing like more food metaphors for how I feel about albums, but
for $5 a month, you can determine what food metaphors we use.
You know what? It's a French onion soup.
Oh no, you shut your mouth. French onion soup is fucking bomb, even under the cheese and crust and fucking crouton. I fucking will drink. I would put French onion soup in a thermos.
You know, it's good, but you have that layer, and then you crack through the layer, and it's all soup.
Well, the soup's the best part.
It's an ortolan. However the fuck you pronounce that one.
A what?
Or ortolan, or however you pronounce it. Do you know the fucking bird that you eat with the towel on your head?
What?
Oh, I'm aware of it, but I don't know what it's called. I just know that it was made fun of in American Dad.
I'm trying to get the actual pronunciation.
And like the bird is drowned in creme de menthe, and you have to eat it whole with the bones to hide your shame.
Yeah.
Under the towel.
This is new for me, but sure.
It was on a Salmonella Academy video where he was talking about banned foods.
I do remember that too, but my brain immediately went to American Dad, where Cher doing something or other.
Celine Dion doing it's Barbra Streisand doing Celine Dion.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You know what's something I would want to try at some point in my life?
What's that?
I want to try horse meat.
I do too. Speed beef?
Is that what they call it? Speed beef?
That's what I call it.
That's a great name. Yeah, I think that would be interesting to try. I know it's like illegal in several countries, but eventually I'll travel. Eventually I'll go somewhere.
With my love of hot dogs, I've probably eaten some horse meat, but I would like to have like some actual horse meat, like that I know is horse meat and was like prepared good.
I feel about listening to more 00_ like I feel about eating horse meat, in the sense that, yeah, I'm game. Let's do it.
The attitude to have while eating horse meat.
I thought there was going to be a butt to that, but there was no butt to that. It was just horse meat.
All right. Yeah, let's go horse meat.
Yeah, I mean,
like I guess I'm not like itching to fly to whatever country. I'm not itching to go like, yeah, let's listen to another EP, but like I'll do it.
But like if it's on the menu, would you order it?
It was on the menu, and like
yeah.
Depends what else is on the menu, though. I guess
if it's like
it's like your third time going to the restaurant.
If it's like this is your time, this is the moment. I'm taking that moment.
Anyway, I like this EP. I wish I could understand the lyrics a bit better, so I could actually talk a bit more into that. But they are a bit muffled in the mixing. I don't know how intentional that is. It's just how it is. That being said, yeah, it's got good vibes. I like. It scratches the brain. If I was a bit healthier, I'd go more into it. But as I've already warned, I'm going to be shitter than usual this episode. So sorry for all the bands get fucked over because of that.
You sound just fine. You just started talking about horse meat. All working out.
No, I got nothing
honestly,
else
this
to
might
say,
be our best episode yet.
I was playing Bellatrix. I was happy.
I am currently locked the fuck in and playing Temple Run while we record this podcast.
I am just looking at my audio levels. I'm wondering if my noise gate is actually up.
You'll probably be fine.
You sound
I mean-
fine.
I think I got less to say about this album, but when we get to the next one on Dominic's list, I've got nothing to say about that one.
I think
I have stuff to say about that one.
I mean, I have the one that I know I want to pick. I don't think it's the one that you're talking about, but to close
We'll
off
see.
this segment,
Um,
I like Fainting at the Punk Squad. Okay, I don't know how to quantify everything else.
That's
Claude and Bathwater Baby are my favorites on this. I just love those complex like r/indie heads material on Claude. Basically, that's how it feels, and sometimes that's what I want.
I get it.
Well. Least favorite's probably and they're probably in the middle section. I'll pick it in a Fin Film. Yeah, I'll pick it as Fin Film interference. I'll probably backtrack on that eventually when I give this more listens down the line. But for now, I like the CP. If you like slowcore and you like being pretentious, this is the EP for you.
Indeed. This is a cheese sandwich for me, which, as an aside, I mentioned that I had the best cheese sandwich today, and I just like to quickly describe that. I had a cheeseburger patty melt sort of thing where I used 2 grilled cheese as buns.
Okay, sure, that works.
Never talk to me again.
But anyways, yeah, cheese sandwich.
What's next on your list, Dominic?
Well, we've done one from Ritz, we've done one from Domino. Let's do one from Trix and talk about the Growlers.
Yeah, that's the one we thought of.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, I got nothing to say about this. I really just don't care.
I think it's interesting.
I think it's interesting the context of it, but I think the album itself, I don't care.
Yeah,
That's fair.
if you want to give the intro to this, Trix.
Well, this band has like some sex pests in it, and I'm not sure like the whole situation on it. So I like to avoid picking them. But god damn it, Hung It Heart is my favorite like album of all time, like top 5, not even joking. And like I just wanted an excuse to pick it, and an excuse to listen to this other version of an album I love so much.
Can you describe the differences succinctly?
It's the production is a lot more garagey. There are different songs that don't make it on any final Growlers album, and it's got more. It's less of a surf flair, and it's hold up, I'm losing my mic. It's more of a like dusty cowboy sort of deal, and like I don't know. It's just an entirely different vibe, and it's fascinating to me.
For context, the mix that we're listening to was done by Dan Auerbach of the Black Keys. On the Wikipedia page,
Yes.
It essentially just says, "Hey, we did it. We didn't really like how it turned out, so we did it ourselves again." And so this other version was kind of discarded, but is leaked online, so it exists. It's out there if you want it.
And it's a fascinating.
In my memory, I don't know if I'm even talking about the Brooks Nielsen album or this. I remember it being more circusy.
That's the Brooks Nielsen album.
Yeah.
Because Him and Only Him definitely has that circusy feel.
I get it. But like I'll admit I have listened to Hung at Heart probably 1,000 times in the past half decade.
I believe that.
No, yeah, and so like I know the songs like the back of my hand. I can play quite a number of them on bass. Like this is like an album I've always liked to just listen to and like focus on like the different parts of it and like build it in my head. And like so I know this album pretty well is what I'm trying to say. And it's just so weird hearing like these other versions of it that I know I've heard like the song is there, but there's some things different. Like I remember 1 Million Lovers, I think the vocal lines are different. Like it's a different melody.
What other big differences are there? Like what songs are different? Like what is gone? I guess.
Oh, a lot is gone. Let me pull up the track listing. Hold up. The Growlers. I can type.
Because I mean, there were songs I surprisingly found myself liking. because like I've listened to this band through you, and it's never really hooked on me that much. But this song was like all right.
Okay, so here I'm gonna read off the songs that are not on the final album: "Him and Only Him,"
Mhm.
"Honey Babe," "Lagtown," "She Loves Me," and then "Forgive." And yeah, half the album is not on the album.
Well, Forgive is called Naked Kids. I remember Naked Kids was on the album
Yeah, Naked Kids was on there. My bad.
because Sex
So
Fest
yeah,
Naked
it's still
Kids. Yeah,
five songs.
fair. I liked Lagtown okay. I think
Yeah,
it was
I did
more,
too.
It was more around Burden of the Captain, Living in a Memory that I was like, all right, this has something going. That Shop Eyes is pretty cool. 1 Million
Yeah,
Lovers is
I
a nice song.
I also really like Beach Rats, like the original version, and the this version is a little different. I couldn't tell you off the top of the head, but I just remember it being like not as polished and like not as like finalized as a song.
If I had to give like my sense of the vibe of this band, it's like a band from the '60s, but kind of. This is gonna sound so basic as an example, but just like throwing through like a David Lynch lens.
No, I can see that. I mean, the genre they sort of invented with like their festival and whatnot is called beach goth.
Yeah,
So
like
yeah, I get that.
it's like you're listening to the '60s songs, but it's just ominous enough. There's just something off enough that it feels a little creepy too.
Yeah, at some point we're gonna have to cover a hot in the shade, I think it's called, or Hot Tropics, which opens up with the song called "The Graveyard's Full," and it's just talking about building a church out of the bodies of men.
It's
Ooh.
kind of like if you were levels deep into the back rooms, and in the middle of it, you just came upon a band.
Yeah, they have an ominous and foreboding energy.
It's not too much, but it's definitely there.
Yeah, like maybe not the back rooms is a good example because they lose all subtlety there. Maybe something like Control.
More of the sense like you're doing urban exploration. You've broken into an abandoned building, and oh
Yeah,
fuck, there's just these people here doing this shit. Why are they here? Who knows? Who cares?
do they do it every week?
It's like it's below the what the fuck is up Denny's. It's more like there's an underground just existence happening that you don't know about because you're not brave enough to explore until tonight.
Yeah, I get that.
But I mean, I don't know. It stuck with me more than the other mix. I'll tell you that.
The opposite for me. When I'm looking at like these song titles, I'm drawing blanks on the ones that, and I listened to this album like a good 6 or 7 times over the week because it was just good in the kitchen. It was good, just listening on walks and like playing games and whatnot. But I'm just remembering the original versions because I've obviously listened to those so much more many times.
I'm trying to.
I could see the Black Keys influence in this album. I thought
Me
that kind of
too.
struck me out quite a lot, but
What
in
was
the end,
what was their album from 2011 called?
uh, 2012, I'm pretty sure it actually came out, and I'm pretty sure it's called El Camino.
Yeah, El Camino. I thought it was El Camino, but I wasn't 100% sure. I knew it was some car. It definitely has those like sounds and influences at times that I can hear.
I had to look up when we listened to Hung at Heart because I thought I knew, but I was wrong. But I'm not too wrong. It was episode 77 when we covered Stomach Book and Lana Del Rey's Blue Banisters. And, like, I thought I remembered listening to it, but what I remember listening to was The Frights, which we listened to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another
That one I really
controversial surf band because of sex crimes.
Both your picks.
Yeah, I'm laughing because it hurts.
But I have a very distinct memory of listening to your picks on the way home from your Halloween party.
Yeah.
And
Honestly, I still put on that Frights album too.
of course you do. Your fave's gonna be problematic. As long as you acknowledge it and don't excuse it.
Yeah, I don't.
But I have no memory of listening to Hung at Heart originally. I know we did it, but
We did it. for a Halloween episode because I wanted to say that humans were the real monsters.
Yep, that is indeed the episode name. Trix would like you to know that sometimes real people are the monsters.
Da, da, da.
Yeah, I remember listening to Injury Reserve the week before. I remember listening to we did the Boy Scout stuff and fan club afterwards. But yeah, from this week I remember Stomach Book and I kind of remember Lana Del Rey, but the Growlers, man, no way. Now I will remember the Growlers. Trust me, I will remember the Growlers now.
Hell yeah!
I remember the Brooks Nielsen album more than Hung at Heart originally.
And that isn't even the first time we covered the Growlers, because do you remember the very first time we covered the Growlers was?
The first mini-sode.
Yes. Casual Acquaintances.
Before things got out, I believe.
Yes.
That's definitely a timestamp.
That is.
Yeah, I still like Nevaeh from that album.
Problems 3 I go back to on that. I'm pulling up the track listing right now. I think Heaven and Hell I go to too. Wait, where's this album? Okay, I just scrolled to the back. Problems 3, Heaven and Hell I go to. Orgasm of Death. Orgasm of Death is phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember anything else except for Nevaeh.
I also listen to a lot more of the Growlers in general than you do.
Yes.
And The Graveyard's Full was off of Hot Tropics, since I'm on the Growlers YouTube music page.
And I just probably won't listen to the Growlers again because I really didn't care about them.
No, fair enough.
You're not you're pretentious enough for 00_, but not pretentious enough for the Growlers.
Yep, basically.
What's pretentious about the Growlers?
They have you like looked into their lyrics at all, and like on their later, well, you haven't listened to some of their later stuff, but they have a very like hipster writing style.
Oh god. Is Brooks Nielsen just a fucking hipster?
Oh, have you not seen Brooks Nielsen? Dude is like the
have.
definition of a hipster. He's
He's
like Trevor Moore if he owned a gastropub.
I thought he was just hopefully just like a lumberjack smoking dude.
No, he's like this like slicked, greasy looking guy. Hold up, I'll pull up a photo.
Like he's on the cover of his solo album, isn't he?
Yeah, but he does not look like a refined smoking gentleman, if that's what you're saying.
Not refined, it's just like, you know, the guy you'd meet on the side of the road at the gas station in a flannel.
Yeah, I could see that.
He's got a big mustache or something.
He does have a big mustache, and I have the same haircut as him.
Oh god.
I'm posting it. I'm posting it in general under my burn.
Beautiful.
He looks like a wax figure.
Yeah, he's like the wax figure of a hipster.
If I'm watching him sing Pet Shop Eyes, I'm not as interested now.
Oh no, you will be captivated. I gotta send you some videos.
Because he seems like the person who has a voice that sounds older than he is.
Yeah, I can see that. But like he carries himself in a live performance.
Okay.
Like he's got chops. He's not just up there being like, "This world was always broken."
I mean, I'm sure he can do the songs. Like, why else would he?
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. But like, I'm saying like he can back it up.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Is there anything else we want to say about this album?
Not particularly. I don't even really have a favorite or least favorite. It was a blender, and I'm not even needing another term for it. It was just a blender.
That's fair, I guess.
I like Burden of the Captain. I like Pet Shop Eyes and 1 Million Lovers. What are some of my least favorites? Forgive.
1 Million Lovers, my favorite. I love that song so much, just in general, and it's fascinating to hear another version of it. I also am quite a fan of Living in a Memory. I don't know why I said that weird. The original was always interesting because it was like an acoustic song and like a break of surf, and like it just felt like you were like coming on to like an island where someone was just sitting there and thinking about the person that they miss.
Sure.
I don't know, but yeah, and I do not have a least favorite. I can gush about this for hours.
Okay. Anyone want to pick what's next?
Nope. You can
All right,
go ahead, Dominic.
let's start with me again. Let's go to Tiny Tim.
Through tulips by the willow tree.
Tiny Tim, God bless Tiny Tim. The man with the high and the low voice is on the podcast. Never mind the fact that he married a 17-year-old live on TV.
I did not know that.
His first wife, Miss Vicky, I believe she was either 17 or they met when she was 17, and they got married when she was 18. Either way, when he was 37. But you know.
No, he had one daughter from his first marriage to then 17-year-old Victoria.
There we go.
Oof. Maybe that's why he was called Tiny Tim.
No, I mean, the story given is that he was following... Is midget the right word, or is it dwarf? I don't remember.
Dwarf would be the correct word now, I believe.
Following a dwarf act.
I think it's even just little person.
He's following a little person act, dwarf act, whichever the one term is the correct one. I apologize. And the manager told him Tiny Tim because he thought that would work, and it did.
Yeah. I was just making a joke in bad taste.
I just want to point out the greatest Tiny Tim lore that's actually happened about 1.5 kilometers away from my house.
Okay.
In January 1979, Australian artist Martin Sharp brought Tiny Tim to Luna Park in Sydney, Australia, to set the world record for longest non-stop professional singing marathon. This was the culmination of a long-standing collaboration between Tim and Sharp, who would be openly obsessed with him for years, bringing him to Australia several times, producing his recordings, blah, 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 blah.
He made a good documentary
Yeah, the marathon performance was filmed by Sharp's camera crew and ran for over 2 hours and 17 minutes, successfully setting a world record. When the 1979 Ghost Train fire occurred at Luna Park 5 months later, Sharp was convinced that it was theologically linked to Tiny Tim's performance, and also set out to prove it was deliberately lit as an arson attempt.
And the
linking between the big fire at Luna Park and Tiny Tim.
That's awesome.
The thing that ties it together too is that Tiny Tim is a devout Catholic, so of course it would be some kind of divine intervention that would make everything tie together like a rug in a room.
He doesn't. I'm gonna be honest. I'm going in knowing nothing about Tiny Tim other than he basically died on stage singing "Tiptoe Through the Tulips."
Yes, that's
but it simultaneously surprises me and does not surprise me at all that he was a devout Catholic.
He's so camp, though.
I see it, but like in my eyes, he has this weirdness to him.
He does.
That is a little extra.
He has, his high voice that he's very famous for. He also can sing very low, which is really nice.
Yes.
And it's like his whole image.
Yeah.
Now, I was saying, I don't know if I put this in the chat or not, that this is basically a Shel Silverstein album before Shel Silverstein did it.
You did, and I kind of see where you're getting at, but it's not done as well as the Shel Silverstein album.
Except for the Viper.
Yeah, the Viper's great.
That's like my favorite track on here. It's so good for no reason. It's just a joke, basically. It's just like him telling a story, and he has so many great campy one-liners, like, I shook like jello at a hurricane. And
yeah.
The whole joke is that a guy is like, I am the Viper, I'll be seeing you in 8 days. And then the guy comes and he's like, I'm here to wipe your windows. And then it plays a fucking musical sting at the end like it's a fucking meme.
But the Viper is actually a bit of a folk story, and I know it was in one of the scary stories to tell in the dark books too.
It's kind of like The Ring. He calls you and says 7 days or 7 minutes or whatever.
Yes.
And there he is, and he's not scary at all.
I listened to this album last night whilst on the way to Manly, walking and catching a bus in the dark. And I'll tell you what, it fits that vibe. Surprisingly.
Yeah.
It
I
just nothing's
need to-
happening, and you're just listening to just what is basically, in a sense, nothing. It's Tim and a ukulele.
Yeah.
I tried to listen to this in the kitchen just to like see if I could hit those SpongeBob vibes with like living in the sunlight, and no, I could not.
I mean, that's.
I
the
think
fun
I
thing.
got to Stay Down Where You Belong, and I turned it off.
What a song that is.
Yeah.
What a great example of a song from the 60s. Like, there's just something about Stay Down Where You Belong that sounds like so belabored and so like drawn out, when the point it's trying to make is just very like clear and like, okay, you can stop now. Because it's like
Yeah.
the guy goes down to hell and the devil's like, oh, I'm the devil, look at all those people up there. And it's an Irving Berlin song, so what the fuck ever, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the thing. This is the 60s. This is in 68, so this is our first album from 68, by the way. And so it's pop standards. It's just the American songbook.
Yeah.
You've got
And there's even like jazz standards, like with I know Tiptoe Through the Tulips used to be a jazz standard for guitar.
interesting, and now it's just idolized as a SpongeBob song.
Pretty much. And also Insidious.
I still need to watch Insidious. But it is interesting that this stuff was in SpongeBob a couple years after he died.
Yeah. Maybe it was cheap.
It was probably at like the lowest point of anyone knowing who Tiny Tim was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I mean,
go ahead, Ritz.
Stephen Hillenburg has always been pretty well aware musically.
Yeah.
He also is well aware of another one of our musical picks, which we'll get to soon.
Yeah, I know, because I was the one who brought up that fact the first time I brought him on this podcast.
Yes, but I was just setting up a segue, you dipshit.
Yeah, I know. Fuck you.
I mean, I was setting up that segue by picking this album next, but yes.
I know.
We
We bow to your dominance, Domino.
You have Irving Berlin songs, you have George M. Cohan songs, and then what's that? You have a Sonny Bono song for some reason. Yeah, he's doing a lot of stuff. It's very much presented like this is his world. You know, he's giving it to his fans. He even has like some spoken moments where he's like, "Oh, it's so nice to be on record for the first time. So lovely to be here with you all."
And it's a different type of camp than the B-52s. I can't explain it.
Oh yeah, it's completely played straight. It's like, you know, if someone were to be closeted and just acting normally.
Yeah.
Not saying anything, I'm just saying that's what it's like.
Yeah. What the fuck is my cat doing inside?
I think there are some really weird
Hey,
moments.
Monty.
Like, Daddy, what is heaven like? Is a very weird thing he does.
Yeah.
Where it's a little boy asking, why did mommy go to heaven, and where's that, and yada yada yada, and it's just, he's doing both voices.
Yeah.
And that's kind of also his shtick throughout. He does the duet and I Got You Babe, he does the Sonny and the Cher part.
And it's fucking funny.
And he's really good at like doing both, and I think that's his biggest strength, is that he brings the chops. He's a good singer.
Yeah. I agree with that. I really need to give this album like a proper like sit down, listen to it, both headphones on, just devote my time to it, and like sit and smoke a joint while I like fuck around with Photoshop or something. And I regret not being able to do that this week. I am definitely going to be trying to do it over the week. Maybe I'll post some thoughts about it on the Patreon.
Yeah, if you want. Fuck it. I think that'd be a fun
If I do like a proper sit down session with this and like write out my notes, which I don't really do for albums, but I feel like this one deserves it.
Sure. Whatever you're down to do, I am totally fine with putting on the Patreon. That's what it's for. All our little weird side project shit.
Mm-hmm.
Where we can post our weird notes and shit. I should dig up my old
Which we all have ADHD, I'm pretty sure. So
Probably.
I'm not diagnosed. I'm a pretty patient person. Who knows?
I am not diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure.
I am diagnosed. Fuck.
Yeah.
I like This Is All I Ask. I think it's a really strong finale. Again, showing off his like Oh, the dude can just sing for real kind of moments.
Yeah. Like, he's not just a comedy act in a way.
Yeah, even though that's what he kind of made his name on.
Yeah. Or at least how he's remembered as.
Honestly, the only times I've actually had a bit of humor was when he was doing the duets by himself. I actually don't really find this to be that funny of an album. I think it's actually just seriously interesting, even if the dude's weird.
I don't think it's funny. It's more just like interesting in the sense that
Yeah, but
he's
that's
carrying
the
himself.
whole thing of
Yeah.
Tiny Tim was seen as a bit of a when it's outside of music. I guess that's always the case. It's the same with and to be fair, that dude made songs like "Suck a Caribou's Ass."
You completely skipped out there. What'd you say?
Stuck a carrot in his ass.
I heard that part, but I
"Suck
don't
a
know.
Caribou's Ass."
I don't know
Yeah,
what artist you were
No,
talking about.
Wesley Willis.
Okay,
No,
that didn't come through.
Yeah. But that's someone like when it comes to outside of music, and I'm not talking about the whole context behind the whole thing because I know Wesley Willis also had a pretty dark context behind his music. In the sense of here, this was, it had that bit of comedy, I guess, associated with it just because of how weird it was.
I mean, that's how.
Speaking of rock and roll McDonald, Morgan Spurlock died this week.
Oh,
Yeah, we kind of manifested his cancer, I feel, because
We
no one
did.
really knew. No one knew, but we all found out that he had alcohol abuse, and this was like, how are you still alive?
Oh,
And
I
it's like,
knew he had alcohol abuse. That was like a
Yeah.
Reddit fun fact for years, but like, I just
Yeah,
like,
but it's-
I'll take any chance to hate on that motherfucker.
But it went to a whole public thing. But he did this whole like, oh shit, how is he still alive? And then he was like, oh yeah, you're right. And then
Gets criticized. Dies.
I mean, I see a lot of people who are completely disregard everything that happened in Super Size Me, and I think it's fair to disregard the actual experiment itself, which is a fair amount of film.
Yeah. Like,
But it's not to say there isn't some actual genuine fucking claims that are still in that film, which McDonald's had to fucking change.
oh,
Like
100%.
the whole fact that you couldn't get any health information unless you specifically asked for it, and then even then they didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
And now always I mean, and the other big thing that it talks about is that why it's supposed to be a fucking thing is the kind of made milk, even though it is a little harder than what it actually is. But, indoctrinating is the better word.
I get it.
Yeah, into having fast food into a regular habit.
Also, Ritz, I do want to say that I probably am a horrible example of this because I am one of those average Americans that has to have a burger every day, but I am also a burger cook. So,
I mean, what
could go
say?
either way.
Yeah. Morgan Spurlock. What a great name, though.
He had a name for documentaries.
Or Star Trek.
Well, I put aside a lot of things as well. The dude popped a documentary.
Yeah. Him and Michael Moore.
And Al Gore. Don't forget Al Gore.
A bunch of other aspects.
Oh, yeah. I saw...
Yeah, and
believe it or not, I saw that Al Gore movie in
theaters.
Yeah.
You're both cutting out for me, but my ping says I'm fine, so I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Whatever that was called. I forget what it's called. Just remember. Chase happening outside your window, Ritz?
No, my partner just got back and decided to watch Bridgerton.
Gotcha.
It's all good. She just held up. I've done that a couple times.
I don't blame her. I don't.
Yeah, you might have actually gotten really lucky there, Sody.
No, if Dominic's here.
Hi, I'm here.
You might know that recorded.
Okay,
Never
good.
mind.
Never mind.
It's even worse. It wasn't Bridgerton. It was the Twilight Saga.
What's the difference?
Bridgerton has sex scenes.
I don't care about that.
Anyway, Tiny Tim.
Fair.
Yeah.
I used to be able to do a really good time anymore.
I vibe with this. Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I have basically 2 days off this week because the shift for my day off ends at 4, and the shift starts at 5 p.m. So
Just the impressive part about this, you have a lot of music from back in the day, in which it's just covers. I mean, that's what music used to just be. You get an original piece once every year if you're lucky. That goes back to classical music as well, where everybody was just doing the old work and just doing it again. But now, obviously, we're in a time where you don't have to actually go out to an amphitheater and see that shit. So a bit more pressure to put real music out. And when you have, I mean, it's the same with like. This is probably the most disgusting thing I'll ever say, but goddamn, is it fucking true? Elvis was basically the same. Elvis would just do covers. I know he had some originals. I'm pretty sure Tiny Tim probably has a couple of originals. But Elvis's biggest songs are covers.
Yeah.
There's probably one or two excuses you can find. I don't care. But Tiny Tim, his covers have more reason to exist in modern day than Elvis does. So Tiny Tim has more of a legacy than Elvis. Fuck you.
Well,
I like Elvis.
Elvis's legacy is managing to find the unhealthiest bedtime sandwich.
The Fool's Gold Loaf.
Yeah, the fact I feel like Trix has had one of those before.
I have not because I don't like peanut butter.
Oh.
But I'm going to describe it. It is an entire loaf of French bread.
Have you seen it before, Dominic?
I have not.
Well, while Ritz posts a photo, I'll describe it. You take an entire loaf of French bread and you hollow it out, and then you fill each side with peanut butter and jelly, and then you put a pound of bacon in between it and eat it.
Why?
Yep. That was Elvis's diet for a lot of the end of his career.
He would literally fly his plane to the city with the restaurant, just to get the sandwiches.
You're wrong, Ritz. That wasn't just his diet. He also took copious amounts of drugs.
That's true as well.
No, they were prescribed diet pills. He hated drugs. And yes, they were drugs, but he specifically hated drugs, and he was actually like an agent of the DEA or something like that, granted to him by one of the presidents.
But nonetheless, he was somebody that was, living and dying by pills at the end, the prescribed things.
Yes.
When they say he died on the toilet,
I just wanted to bring up
forget to mention
that fun fact about Elvis, that he was a narc.
Yes. When they say he died on the toilet, they forget to mention that he was backed up for weeks before that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like the Tiny Tim album. It's interesting. I'm not going to say every song's a hit.
They call it restroom when I'm fighting for my life there.
I'm not going to say every song's a hit, but it's interesting that it exists.
Yeah.
Favorites, least favorites?
Favorite is Living in the Sunshine, Loving in the Moonlight, or however it is. Least favorite, oh god, let me just set the track list back up again. To get the album out, fucking hell. Sorry, this is taking too long. Least favorite's probably something like Strawberry Tea. I also like Daddy, Daddy, What Is Heaven Like?
I quite like the Viper. Obviously, the SpongeBob songs, Tiptoe Through the Tulips and Living in the Sunlight are fun as well. I also quite like This Is All I Ask. My least favorite is gotta be Stay Down Here Where You Belong. That song is just dated.
Yeah, I'll say my least favorite is Stay Down Where You Belong. Favorites are the SpongeBob songs, and I always have a soft spot for Cher, so I got you, babe.
That's my least favorite Cher song. I don't understand it.
It's not a great Cher song, but I do love me some Cher.
I love Cher as well. One day we will cover Cher properly.
Yeah, and I need to get a t-shirt. I need to get several t-shirts with many of her tweets.
T-shirts?
So just to correct, I don't think Tulips was ever used in SpongeBob.
No, I'm pretty sure it is.
What episode?
Don't know off the top of my head. I'm just gonna Google Tiptoe Through the Tulips SpongeBob.
Yeah, I think it's associated, but
Yeah, it's never been used. Shit.
yeah, it's on r/Mandela effect, so you
I
know it
see
never
that
happened.
too. It never
Yeah.
happened.
That's fine. It
What
Because
was
I was
it
trying to
used
think what
for?
episode, but like, nah.
it was just another song that we happened to hear in some way because it was the same guy doing the Living in the Sunlight. And that's why we remembered it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a popular song. It's probably been used in other stuff, but
Maybe it's just insidious for Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
that's all Wikipedia says. But I doubt that's the end use of it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
doubt. Anyway,
What's the
SpongeBob to
next one,
SpongeBob.
Ron?
Let's talk about Shinola Volume 1.
Ween.
I relate to big fat fuck sometimes.
Same. That is prime kitchen music right there. Like I'm just
Yeah.
munching fucking French fries while I'm running around flipping burgers.
I just it's one of those ones like I felt that. I just felt
Feeling
that.
like a big fat fuck. Big
Yeah.
fat fuck.
I can't tell you this is my favorite Ween album. I still prefer. I mean, this is basically a compilation album anyway
Yeah.
of a bunch of the songs that never really got put anywhere else, but had to exist. That being said, there is some great moments on this. Tastes good on the bun kind of reminds me a lot of Take Me
Good
Away.
on the bun.
Tastes good on the bun. Tastes good on the bun.
Actually, it more reminds me of the title track sheet. It still reminds me of that album. I mean, there's going to be a lot that comes from that era anyway. That being said, the best of this is still Gabrielle.
Yeah,
Interesting
Gabrielle
choice.
is the best song.
It's fine. It's not my favorite. I think
Yeah, but
Monique
It's
the
a
Freak
fucking
is
banger,
better.
man.
Monique the Freak is a
You-
bop as well. Hold on.
You've been.
Monique the
It
Freak
it
is a bop. Gabrielle is like more. It has more of like a good dad rocky feeling to it that I
Yes.
quite enjoy.
Yeah.
But that's not what I associate
It's the
Ween
most
with.
straight. I know what it is. The most straight Ween song, which is what you don't expect Ween to do, which is what
Yeah.
Ween does.
That's fair.
And that's why
a
it's
good
so-
point.
This is their offcuts album.
Yeah.
And like Boys Club is also a nice kind of balance to that as well. Boys Club is like a Tism song.
Yeah, but I could see that. Boys Club is like a fun song to like dance along to.
And
Oh, not look at the lyrics at all for is I'm going to be.
I think it's just one of those off-field ones. I'll see what the lyrics mean.
For Israel?
Yeah, probably.
You broke up there. You just talking
No, I
about
think
Israel?
it's yeah, talking about the song from the album.
Yes.
I think it's comparable, although not as good to Buenos Tardes Amigos, where it is as it's still a song that Ween puts out every once in a while.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
Bong Ripper's Great Barrier Reefer, that intro.
Interesting.
Like where it's reciting Bible verses. I'm not sure what this one is, but in Bong Ripper's case, it was like one which I'm not sure what it is. I had it, but it like has those like this is more of like a jazzier feel to it, but it still kind of captures that like out there feeling with the Bible verses and the instrumentation.
Yes. I'm gonna say that like outside of knowing like what Israel means as a song, instrumentally that's my favorite on the album.
Yeah, it's good.
Like I just think that song it just sounds real nice. It tickles the brain in the right way. I'm like, I don't know what this means though.
Also, unrelated, I'm not sure if YouTube Music has personalized algorithms now, or if I'm just listening to so much Ween that I have actually changed the algorithm for when you search up Ween, the first song that comes up on YouTube.
What is the song?
A fun other thing to point out whilst we get off the topic of Israel, this is actually the second last Ween album.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they kind of just put out La Cucaracha and then broke up for a bit, and then they've been around back since 2015, but
Yeah,
no albums, no new shit. So they didn't end it with the B-sides album, but they almost did.
yeah.
They gave us one more.
There's also the Friends EP.
Yeah, that came out the same year as La Cucaracha, though.
Yeah.
In fact, it actually was like only a couple months before.
But yeah,
There's
this is
some other
good.
pretty cool songs on here. I think Someday is a really nice ending. Really chill, just kind of relaxed. I also Did You See Me is just a nice kind of quieter song as well. I think there's a nice variation between some of their dad rocky or just more explosive songs and some of the quieter ones.
Apparently, Did You See Me sessions?
That's cool.
It's from the Mollusk, yeah.
Yeah, on Wikipedia, all the tracks are, except the only one he found is Israel.
Ooh, so specifically for Shinola.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Their own stream too. We all expect version.
Oh, that is a face on the Ween album. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fake.
I thought it was an Earth.
I could see it.
But yeah, audio's kind of just fucked right now. Apologies.
I think this would have been. I think this would have been a better pick if we had fully done everything.
Yeah, if we'd
then.
done more Ween.
Just because there's a lot of other moments that we haven't talked about, which there's outtakes from. Like there's the pod. I don't think they actually have any from One Ween Satan, which I can't remember.
Godween's.
There's outtakes back at some point.
Yeah, Quebec is phenomenal too.
Yeah,
but
that's considered.
Yeah, I one purely because
one
I've
big
just been
three.
listening to it a lot.
I mean, it's nice to have Ween and Fish on the show in the same year.
I think there was a time when this album was
Wouldn't surprise me.
Wasn't what?
On Spotify. Like, it just wasn't on streaming for a bit.
I mean, it's a compilation. Those sometimes are not.
Yeah. I know in a lot of fan circles it's considered an album, people, but it's not really an album.
And then, yeah, if you go into, you can always find the fan-made Shinola.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole you can go down to. I know I want to get into Shaky Graves fan concerts or fan shows at some point.
It'll never be over.
It'll never be over.
Anyway, yeah, Shinola's cool.
Yeah. Favorites, least favorites?
Favorites for me. Okay.
You start.
I'll start.
No, you start.
Favorites for me are Big Fat Fuck, Boys Club, Gabrielle. No least favorite.
Favorites for me, on Fat Fuck, Gabrielle, Did You See Me, and Modern Positions.
I want to start this by saying I am not a Zionist, but in this context, I think Israel is great. Beyond that,
Dominic loves Israel.
I don't think I'd always be a Zionist to like a song. You know, I think there's some people who have backgrounds in Israel and stuff. I mean, the ones who are supporting what Israel is doing is a different story.
Yeah. This is also the second time Israel has been brought up on the pod, and it's also my fault.
Beyond that, I like Tastes Good on the Bun, Big Fat Fuck, Monique the Freak Someday. My least favorite, we're probably going to say, is The Rift. Which now leads us to our last album, RAAVE Tapes.
Yeah, so I like RAAVE Tapes earlier this year. They had their 2019 EP. It was a mixture of that electronic dance and dance punk, and a really interesting combination that we all agreed was fantastic. They've lost their drummer since.
Aww.
He's the band. He's just left the band. It's not that bad, Trix.
Yeah, that's good.
And have since continued on as a duo, going on from COVID times and into current, and have completely changed their sound into what they like to call party rock, except time actually not obnoxious. Now they have an album out. It's completely different to what we covered the last time, but I like this.
I like this better.
This is fun.
I like that.
This is fun. This is like almost hyper pop.
I like this quite a bit.
Okay, we got some
Dancing 'Cause I'm Sad.
dissonance.
Yeah, this
The industrial part's what I really liked about that EP.
I will be the centrist. I think dancing a really creative that not much albums or EPs you get kind of sound like it's a very dance pop album, and we don't have this now. The band's no longer just that's just it's a completely different sound, new direction, blah 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 blah. As good as Dancing Because I think Dancing Because I'm Sad is their best work when it comes to actually analyzing and comparing it to all the other works. That being said, this is fun. This is really fun.
This is fun.
It's very fun. I've listened to it several times. I've recommended it to people.
Same.
I was so excited when they finally released Braces because they've been playing that song live for a while now, and they didn't have an official release for it yet. And they finally released it as a single the week before the album.
That's pretty sweet, at least.
And that outro is so fucking good.
It is.
I sent Enemy's Jealousy to my friend, and I guess they noticed that it was a YouTube video with 8 views, and they're like, "How did you find this?" On the show this week, baby.
I'm
yeah.
honestly surprised of how little they get with their views and stuff sometimes, because it's not like no one knows of them. They've been opening enough. They've been getting some pretty good slots over the past year. They opened up for Laneway. They had a high billing at Mountain Goat Valley Crawl. They joined Stumps on their national tour, so they went all around the country. I mean, they're pretty high regarded in Newcastle at the moment. Not that that's really the biggest scene in the world, but yeah, 8 views on YouTube. Granted, for one of the deep cuts on the album, but
it's been out for a week though.
I'm looking at the plays on YouTube Music right now, which is like indicative of the views. And the lowest is Heard It All Big Man at 11 plays, and like 3 of those were me.
Hell yeah.
And the most is Goodbye at 1.4K.
Because they released Goodbye as the first single in August last year.
Makes sense.
And honestly, as much as it's kind of fun live, Goodbye is my least favorite on this album.
Beyond that, then, K High is the second highest at 152.
Which is my favorite from the album.
That is also my favorite.
My favorite.
Actually, no, I think 10,000 People in the Room is my favorite.
That one's pretty up there as well.
I really like
K High, where
Sinbin's
do you know? No, I got a question.
This whole album is great.
Do you know what a sin bin is?
No, I don't.
Is it something like a goon sack?
A sin bin is when you have 10 minutes off the field in rugby league.
Oh, so it's like a penalty box.
Yep.
That's cute.
I know hockey. I don't know rugby. I used to go to AAA hockey games for fun.
I want to say this to Lindsay and Job if they're listening, because I saw that they like to post the Newcastle Knights highlights. Fuck you, the dogs absolutely thrashed you cunts both times.
You heard it here first, folks.
Go sports. Go
the dogs. Go the Bears. So I just wanted my NRL reference that we'll get in the whole podcast this year.
Until Pete comes on, at least.
No, yeah. Pete doesn't give a shit about NRL. He gives a shit about AFL.
We talk about both.
It's two.
And our National Rugby Leagues versus Aussie Rules football.
Yeah.
Yep. Now going back into the album, K High I love. It has those. It reminds me a lot of Freeze Pop, if you remember that band. Yeah, that.
I didn't mean to start playing Breaks Cut, but I accidentally did.
Yeah. But yeah, like with the whole kind of like glitchy vocals that are happening in there, and then that one's probably the most industrial song on this album that kind of keeps anything from Dancing Because I'm Sad. And it's not like they've completely abandoned that idea as well. They still play K-Bye as their closer, and they still play Corridor, even though Corridor's completely changed in their lifestyle now.
That's cool.
So it's good that we still get some of that, because, you know, with this being a fun album, there isn't that much on there. I'm like, okay, this is the best songs of the year. without getting stuff like K-High, which is something like, okay, well, some of this is just fun, I'll listen to it for the year. And fun is still quite a bit, but the K-High is fun, but also really impressively produced.
It's one of the things where I really have to get over myself because I was so disappointed that this wasn't Dancing 'Cause I'm Sad. I really like
And
the
yeah, I
industrial
can understand
pop,
it.
but this was not that, and so it took me a little bit to be like, okay, this is its own thing. It's gonna be fine. It's just not the thing you want. And so that allowed me to start loving songs like Braces, Breaks Cut, Enemy's Jealousy, Sinbad.
The drum and bass that happens, and I Just Want to Be Alone. There's some good production that happens on this album, actually. Even if it still does get a bit cut and dry with some of what the songs actually are. There's enough variety in the songs in this that it's not like, okay, we're actually listening to the same song every time.
Oh yeah,
it is it's a fun album start to finish. I think its biggest flaw is that it has these moments though where the production is just really, really good and interesting, but it's not consistently throughout the album.
Like,
it's good production the whole way, but just those moments where they've actually they've got a bit more daring with the song, which they do a couple times. I just wish they did it a lot more.
I mean, yeah, like we're very used to them having a large sound, and then you listen to the song I keep bringing up, "Enemy's Jealousy," and that's probably the driest song on the album.
Yeah,
like it's just kind of a synth and some vocals and almost a demo.
But
it works, and it's got some like really nice studio chatter in there that I like, so it kind of ties it back.
They have a lot of studio chatter. They have a lot of studio chatter on this album, actually. Trix, when you said your favorite, 1,000 People in the Room, that's one of the ones where it just cuts with the studio chatter and then goes into the large explosive beat.
Yeah, I'm always a sucker for little bits like that. Like I always think back to the Getta on No Hitter Petite League.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they keep it's a different thing, and I keep having to remind myself that because I don't think they would do that stuff on the previous EPs. And so, if you want to really signal that you're a new band, doing stuff you've never done before, like studio chatter, in a significant way, is definitely a way to get the message across.
Definitely.
I mean, this is a fun time. I think the biggest worry that could have ever happened, especially they've turned from what was the dance punk into just dance.
Yeah.
That's I know the Dancing 'Cause I'm Sad is more industrial pop, but the original EP, the self-titled one, is dance punk.
I think the gays
they've gone
love rave tapes.
Yeah, as they should.
That is an ominous sentence in Pride Month.
But continuing on, when you go into a sound like this that is not the sound that you're I say supposed to, just because what their previous stuff is, obviously you can do whatever the fuck you want. But actually, now listening to this, the biggest fear you could have is that, okay, this is just going to be cringe. But they double down, and that's the thing. The comparison is when they call themselves party rockers, you're obviously going to compare it to LMFAO. And LMFAO had the problems of every fucking artist back in the 10s that was at that level. It was just overproduced pop garbage. It wasn't. You can go, sorry.
I have an aside about LMFAO. I have seen some people online claim that so I think it was Sorry for Party Rocking is a proto hyperpop album.
Interesting.
I decline that theory. I think its biggest problem is the proto hyperpop album was My Teenage Dream Ended.
Well, Trix,
yes, but I've also
one way to assess.
But double feature, we're doing Party Rockin' and Sorry for Party Rockin' by LMFAO.
But going back onto this, the whole aspect of what was bad about that kind of a party rock attitude there is that the songs are just overblown messes of just whatever would go into a focus group and work. And I can't say this isn't music that doesn't check the boxes of a song structure, but it doesn't feel overblown. It feels like where they are doubling down, it's in the right places.
Yeah,
I feel like they're resetting their image, and that's going to take some time to truly make them go in the direction I think they want to go in. And so like this is a great
Yeah,
point to be at.
but also remember they've never been huge, so resetting their image isn't like they're trying to convince the world of anything when the world never really heard them the first time.
Look, if there is one RAAVE Tapes fan of that EP of Dancing As I'm Sad, I am that one fan.
There was
is a
many
world for
fans
them,
of
I
it.
am that world.
There's
A
been
band
many
making music
fans.
specifically for Domino.
You're
Anyway,
saying, Trix?
yeah.
Ritz, I'm sorry.
Eh.
No, that's basically it. I was just going on about what I like about this album. I think it's still got a couple moments in which it doesn't quite hit as well as it could be. Breaks Cut is one of those songs where I like what it's going for, but it's making me think of another song, and I can't get it off the tip of my tongue right now, that has a very similar structure, and it kind of stops me from enjoying it a lot more. And then I do think there are some moments in which it does get a bit repetitive compared to the variety that we're hearing towards the end. But for what is basically, it's not the first foray into it, but what is basically like the whole confirmation that this is the sound change. This is the new way that RAAVE Tape sounds. I think it's a really good step in this new direction, and I think it's a really fun dance album.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, this album is probably going to go into my rotation in the kitchen whenever I'm like, oh, I need to put on like something 100 Gexy. This will be like in the rotation with like underscores and whatnot.
It's a good place to be in.
I'm
Yeah, it
trying
is.
to be healthy to see underscores on Wednesday. Fuck me.
Good luck, Toddy.
Yeah, I might have 500 showers tomorrow. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
That'll help.
That sounds like a dream come true for me. Hell yeah. 500 showers? Oh man.
Dominic, they're not group showers.
No, but that much hot water.
I don't have
holy
enough
shit.
hot water for my shower, for that much showers. I am very. I like to boil myself like a lobster.
Oh god, I love hot showers.
I'm running out of energy to talk. So favorites, braces. I just want to be alone. K high, and I do like 1,000 people in the room. You are right, Trix. That does tickle the brain.
Yes.
Least favorite is goodbye.
Favorites for me, K high, and yes, indeed, 10,000 people in the room. It tastes good on the bun.
What?
No least favorites. I don't know.
Tastes good on the
It's
bun
like
is
5 in
not-
the morning almost.
It tastes good on the bun's a Ween song.
I would say. I know. I was saying that 10,000 people tastes good on the bun. Like it's like
1,000
as the
people.
expression. 1,000 people.
Okay,
I was
whatever you
saying
say,
that like
girly.
it's like tastes good on the bun is like a generally good statement. Like yeah, it tastes good on the bun.
Okay.
Like have you not heard the phrase tastes good on the bun before?
No. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that, but worry about it later. Dominic, favorites, least favorites.
Braces, enemies, jealousy, sin bin. Least favorite is probably regret. Rankings for the week then.
I'll start if I can remember the exact way that it all went. Bottom would have to kind of, I mean, unsurprisingly, I guess for me, so be the Growlers, because I really just did not care about that album at all.
Damn.
Then I'm gonna put the Christian Kahn one just above it by not much, but enough because I cared about it a bit more. After that, geez, we got 4 pretty good albums actually. After that, I'm gonna put Tiny Tim. Then I'm gonna put 00 underscore. Then I'm gonna put Ween. Then I'm gonna put RAAVE Tapes. I think RAAVE Tapes fits more as an album than Ween does, but they're both pretty good. They could swap it any other day.
Hell yeah.
I get that.
I'll go next. Alright, at the bottom, we got Christian Kahn. Above that, I'm going to go 00 underscore. And things have changed now. While Hung at Heart is still after 00 underscore. After the Growlers, I'm going to put Ween.
Oh.
After Ween, number 2 is going to be RAAVE Tapes, and number 1 is going to be Tiny Tim.
Okay. I'm gonna go on the bottom with Christian Kahn. Number 5 for me is gonna be Tiny Tim. Number 4 is going to be 00_. Number 3 is going to be the Growlers. Number 2 is RAAVE Tapes, and number 1 is Ween.
Next week.
And with that, it's time for next week. Who's going first?
My pick's gonna be very obvious.
I've been going first.
I'm going with Tom York's The Eraser remixes and Muse's Drones.
I'm not
it's
healthy
time.
enough for this. It is time, though.
Wake up, babe. It's time for another Muse radio episode. Muse Radiohead episode.
Yes, honey.
We're getting close to the end of this. I hope you know.
Yeah, I know. It's alright. Trix,
I know.
You're going to be very happy with the picks I picked this week.
Okay.
I'll let you go first.
I'm going to go back to a band I don't think we've talked about since 2022 at the latest, maybe 2021. And that is the album Intercepted Message by the band OCs.
How do you spell it this time?
I just search it up by the album name, Intercepted Message.
Sure, okay.
So it's time to make Trix happy. And it's time to go into the foray of, yes, I do actually like this music. And we're going to pick an album that from an artist that we have covered, but we haven't covered for a long time. That's not the first one, though. The first one is the new Met Dog album. Questions and answers regarding whatever the fucking rest of that title is. Trix, can you guess what genre that we're going into and what will be the next artist?
It's probably not going to be country.
No.
It's
questions and answers regarding computers and screens, by the way.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. It's almost 5 o'clock in the morning here, man.
Is it doom metal?
No, I was gonna do the egg IRL joke to Trix.
Oh, egg punk.
Yeah. Can you guess what the next one is?
I
just like building some hype for this. It's funny.
Billiam, maybe. He's an Australian egg punk artist.
It doesn't have to be Australian. Dominic, you want to do a guess?
The Network's Money 2020 Part 1.
It's Uranium Club. Infants on.
Oh, hell yeah. And another thing I'd actually also like to mention about Intercepted Message is that it's kind of the OC's new wave album.
Okay.
Well, there you go. I'm gonna die now because I'm sick. So I've been
Me too, but I'm tired.
Thanks for sticking with it, everybody.
I've been tricked.
This next episode is gonna be Tom York's The Eraser remixes, Muse's Drones, OC's Intercepted Message, Met Dog's questions and answers regarding computers and screens, Uranium Club's Infants Under the Bulb, and Trix, you were saying.
Ritz is dead. I've been Trix. You can pay to get me to tattoo something on me. That's all I'm plugging.
Alright, my name is Dominic. You can get to me online at DACICHOCKI on Twitter. I'm on the Games My Mom Found podcast sometimes. There is an episode on Kingdom Hearts, the 3D Dream Drop Distance that's up by now, I'm sure. We theoretically have a website at some point, dissonantwaves.space. Its status may or may not be up. Who knows?
Yes, who knows?
We're on YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky. We have a Patreon, Dissonant Waves Podcast on Patreon for Dissonant Waves. I think it's patreon.com/Dissonant Waves Podcast. We have a Redbubble. Buy our clock. Buy our shower curtain. Buy shit. If you want. Who cares? I'm not telling you to do anything, but it'd be cool if you did.
Consume product.
Anyway, good night, everybody.
Support the podcast if you like. Thank you so much. Bye.